Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Tech It Up with Café Cultura. It's your girl Jayla, and I'm very excited about today's episode. It's honestly, I was able to witness this weekend part of the fun and hard work finally paying off. I want to introduce you guys to Mark, founder of Parlay Pal. How are you, Mark?
I'm doing amazing. I appreciate you having me on.
I'm so excited to have you on. First of all, let's kick it off with a congratulations. We saw you on stage with a big old check from the source, and you guys had tell us a little bit about this weekend, just briefly, because I know we want to get into who you are first.
Gotcha. Yeah, this weekend it felt like a blur until I got on stage because at first we had like a VIP event where there were sponsors there and partners there, and we were all together. It was amazing. They did an amazing job with that. And then the following day we had a demo day, and there was a lot of traffic coming through. People were coming in, asking questions. I had to say the same thing over again, explaining what the app does hundreds of times. And then we ended off on Saturday with the top 10, and it was I couldn't wait to get on stage. I was so excited. Like once they called like Parlay Pal, I was like, let's go. I'm ready. This is what I practice. This is what I've been waiting for, and it's been amazing.
And this is just the beginning. So, this is a great segue to take it from the beginning. Who is Mark?
Who is Mark? That's a great question. So Mark is a Miami born, Miami native, born and raised guy who loves to create, who started off as a photographer and decided to transition into tech later on. So I started coding in 2020, and it stemmed from like the people who I were taking photos of. I was just inspired by them. Like they were doing major things. They were NFL players. They were artists. They were all type of there were people from all types of background, and it just made me challenge myself to want to do more. And I thought, what is the biggest thing that I can do or chase? I figured, well, software engineering seems a bit, intimidating. Let me go ahead and tackle that, and here we are.
So, you that photography background, when did that kick off for you? Was it something you always kind of loved? Was it something you like stumbled upon or
Yeah. So it was something that I sort of stumbled upon. So at the time, I was working at Nordstrom. I was selling like women's shoes,
okay.
and there was this YouTube channel that I used to watch often. It was an NFL player who would like document his journey of like being an NFL player, and I was like, man, I should get a camera and just start recording stuff myself. So I took my camera and I went to the gym, and there's this guy. His name is still a good friend of mine, and he was like, "Hey, are you a cameraman?" I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I just got this camera like 2 days ago.
I am now.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah. He was like, all right, cool. Um, I work at this gym. Can you come by and just like record me and make a video? And I did. And then from there, I ended up shooting somebody else, and then it was just a snowball effect from there.
That's insane. So then you go through this, creative side of yourself. You get all of this inspiration, motivation from the people you are taking pictures of that you're, sharing time with and videoing them and editing and doing all of this. How did then you getting into coding, how did that say, you know what? I want to make Parlay Pal.
Gotcha. So I once I finished learning how to code towards the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, during COVID, I started like trying to find some jobs. We're good.
Yeah, it's cutting in and out.
Don't know why. That's okay. All right, we're good now.
Yeah, we're good.
Is that gonna mess up the episode, or we're fine?
No, we'll edit it. Yeah, I'll just cut it. I wrote down the time when it cut. So
I got you. So I'll just start. Do you want to ask a question again? Or like,
no, you could just start from where you were because I already have the question in there. So I'm just gonna. You can re-say the
okay.
question. Yeah.
So how did I make that transition into building Parlay Pal? So it was towards the end of 2020, 2021, beginning of 2021, and originally I had a different app idea in mind. It was like this
Okay.
social media application, and I spent a year building that, which what I've learned with experience was a huge mistake. If you're going to build a product, do not spend a year building the product. Like you need to build it fast because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like whenever we have an app idea, it's an assumption. We assume people want it. We assume people are willing to pay for it. And the only way to validate that people want it and people are also willing to pay for it is to put it into the market. That's the only way. So you don't want to spend a year working on something and then it doesn't work, or you spend a year on something and people tell you, yeah, we'll pay for it, and then they end up not. So I was working on the social media app for a year, and it, my friends and people who knew me, I assume because they knew me, they were interested and they downloaded it, but it never grew to what I
Mm.
wanted it to do. So I pivoted the idea. So that idea took me a year to build. I pivoted to like a service marketplace application, and I spent 3 months on building that. And marketplaces are very difficult to build.
Oh yeah.
Very, very difficult to build. I mean, the cold start problem is real. It's a real thing. It's not something that they just talk about. It's a real thing. And I built that for a while, and at this point now we're no longer building the older app. And also too, I have to add, like while I was building that first social media app, I actually moved to Missouri.
Oh wow. That
Yeah,
I mean that's a very big change for Miami.
it is. And it happened because once I finished school, learning how to code, like the only job that was willing to hire me is Bass Pro Shop. And they're like, hey, if you want to work here, you got to move to Springfield, Missouri. So at that time, while I was in Missouri, I pivoted from the social media app to now this marketplace. And I just started seeing the buzz of Miami, like the tech scene of Miami. It was insane. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take a leap of faith and go down there. So I came down. At this point, I still had the marketplace app. And then I volunteered at the Startup World Cup, now
Yeah.
Spark, and gained a lot of insight through there. And then after that, I told myself I need to pivot again. So I started to notice that everywhere I would go, AI was the emphasis of everything. Like
Yep.
that's just what it was. So I thought, why not let me build something, but let me build something fast. Let me build something easy to use. Another insight I would say, whenever you're launching an app, the very first version, just make it do one thing. Like just one thing. Because if it only does one thing, you'll be able to build it fast, launch fast, get feedback fast. You'll be able to test everything fast. So
Yeah.
I said, you know what? Let me build something easy to use, fast, has AI, and also too, I can like monetize off of. Valentine's Day was around the corner, so I was like, you know what? Why not create like an AI dating coach or something like that? You just ask a question and it just answers it for you. And it worked. Like it didn't grow to like hundreds and thousands of dollars, but I noticed something. Like if you build an app that does one thing and has a paywall, then
Yeah.
you can monetize it. So then after Valentine's Day passed, I was like, okay, I need to build something that I'm genuinely interested in that does one thing that I can add a paywall and more importantly add value and use AI. And then I was watching a football game and the commercial was a commercial for a sports betting app, and the commercial said you don't need to know everything about sports. All you need is a phone. And to me, I was like, that's pretty much telling somebody you don't need to know how to drive. All you need is a car. Like it's pretty dangerous. You know what I mean? It's pretty dangerous. It's pretty dangerous.
If you
So
think about it, yeah.
yeah, it's pretty dangerous. So I saw that and I was like, absolutely not. That can't be the case. And that's how we built Parlay Pal.
That's insane. It's crazy, one of the things that I repeatedly tell our founders is fail and fail fast, but learn the lessons that you're failing with, right? Because now you started with the one thing, and all of this has been an evolution and kind of almost like the map foundation, right? The blueprint of what you at the end of the day created with Parlay Pal.
Hmm. Correct, correct. And like even the monetization in Parlay Pal, I already learned how to add that into the application from the first application that I built in
All right.
2020. So it's like, okay, I want to add monetization. I want to add a paywall. I've done this before. And to fail it quickly, that's one of the best things you can do because when you're building an app, initially, even if you do, interviews and surveys, you're initially building what you assume people want. There's
Yeah.
nothing better than building something and your actual customers tell you, hey, this is what you want. I mean, this is what we want. That's like gold because now you're in the right place. You're no longer building what you want.
So I know that, the betting world is very complex, right? You can go to some states and bet, you can't go to other states and bet, and I know that that's been kind of a thing with a lot of these betting applications and such. How does I guess Parlay Pal kind of work around it or work with it? How does that process streamline?
Gotcha. Great question. So, yes, the betting landscape is pretty complex, especially if you're a person who actually bets on sports. So, what Parlay Pal does is it allows you to screenshot whatever bets you want to take. It allows you to take that image and you upload it to the application, and the application uses AI to analyze each bet that you want to take. So the information is already on the image. The
Yeah.
issue is the person who's betting, they really don't know how to analyze what they're actually looking at. So they may look at a bet and assume it's a good bet, but they haven't done their research. And even the way that these apps position these bets, they don't put it in a way where you understand it. They put it in
Right.
a way where you only see the reward, you don't see the risk. So they'll put it in a way in front of you where it's like, okay, if you bet $100 on this, you can win $300. Now, to someone who is like they don't really know too much, they'll just say, "Oh, I like that. Let me go ahead and bet on that."
Yeah.
But little do they know that that bet potentially has like a 3% or a 30% chance of winning. Like it's very very risky. So why not create something to highlight the risk prior to them? The same way that day traders, stock traders, forex traders, they have their tools and their platforms in place to analyze their risk. I mean, sports bettors should have the same.
Absolutely. And I mean, I know there's so many people in the industry right now. I feel like sports betting has become such a big thing because now it's not just your basic sports. You see all types of from swimming to the Olympics to, I mean, I've seen cornhole. I've seen cornhole be a sport now, pickleball and ping pong and all of this stuff. And people are really going out there and they really are betting on these things.
Yeah, it's the new thing. It's sports betting has pretty much embedded itself inside of the sports experience
Yeah.
because it's almost impossible unless you're in a state where sports betting is not available. But today, if you're in a state where sports betting is available, it's impossible to watch a game without being bombarded with sports betting ads. It's
Yeah.
just, I mean, it's the perfect placement. If you're watching a football game and you have access to millions of people who are interested in sports, you're going to market on that platform, which leads them to it. So it's just, there's so many new people getting involved in it. And it's almost like they're going through this trial and error phase. But once it's time for them to do their research, it's like the learning gap is pretty large,
Yeah.
So the goal is just to inform them, but not overwhelm them to the point where, because there are tools out there. There are plenty
Yeah.
full of tools out there to help you sports bet, but these tools are sort of more designed for experts, or experts more use them
Yeah.
when they're considered sharps. They call them sharps, so they're more designed for sharps. So
Do Now that we see, the landscape going through its evolution as well, right? Now we see things like esports. You have a lot of esports now and a lot of challenges arenas. This past weekend, I think it was T-Pain and Neo. They had a whole e-gaming, competition and in Vegas. And Vegas is obviously known for a lot of their sports betting. And I see that there's like an interest in it. What are your thoughts on the e-gaming perspective, and how will that be a part of Parlay Pal?
great question. Growing up, I played games religiously. I mean, I would go to school, come back home, play
Well,
video games. And at the time, it was like we didn't really see a way to like monetize playing video games. But nowadays, you see, you have streamers, Twitch, and all these other things.
mm,
Like being a professional gamer is an occupation now. Like
yeah,
it's a possibility. So that's a good point about the esports, because now if you go on a sports betting app, you can bet on two individuals playing NBA 2K against each other,
yeah.
or playing whatever video game. It's a thing now, and I mean, it's only gonna grow from here.
That's it. It's interesting how like all of these things and keeping up with it, right? Because AI, and this is a conversation we have a lot with different founders, and that South Florida has always tend to be a little bit slower in the process of innovation, I guess you can say. Where you have obviously like Silicon Valley, you have New York City, these big hubs for these companies where a lot of these things come from. But now South Florida is growing into what those spaces are, and bigger creations are coming out of here. How do you see that the ecosystem continues like the growing in it in South Florida?
I definitely can see it growing. Like I had a friend of mine when I first moved back to Miami. Initially, I didn't even know that Miami had a tech scene. I didn't know. But then I found out about Tech Tuesdays, and then once I found out about Tech Tuesdays, I found out about
Mhm.
the Spark pitch competition, and I volunteered, and then I started finding out about other things. So there, it's definitely there. And then now we have platforms like this to inform people that there is a tech scene in Miami. So I do see the ecosystem here. I would just hope that we just get more builders. If we
Yeah,
could just introduce more of people in Miami to learning how to code, or even vibe coding using AI to help them code. Because in Miami, if you go to a tech event, there's a lot of people with great ideas that they want to
yeah,
build. And the only thing that's missing is someone to build it. But if you look at the landscape of technology right now is the best time to have an app idea or a website idea, because of the tools that we have to actually build platforms.
I agree 100%. What is a piece of advice that you can give um, anybody who has an idea to start an app or a website, or somebody who's been marinating on it for such a long time and has never taken that leap of faith? You as a founder, somebody who has taken that leap of faith, what advice do you have?
I would say if you have an idea and you've been thinking about it for years, you have already done the first step or the first requirement to be capable of building an app or a website, because that's all you need. You literally have a passion for it. It's been on your mind. That's all you need. I would say the next step is to figure out what frameworks that you need to build it. Meaning, if you want to build a mobile app, you want to start looking at things like Flutter and React Native, or if you want to build a website, things like React or Next.js, and just being familiar with what frameworks do what. And then once you can figure out what frameworks do what, then you can begin asking AI questions and help have AI help you come up with a plan. And then once you create that plan, try to make the plan small. Keep it simple. Make it do one thing first. Just make it do one thing first. I know you're gonna have this idea, and in your mind, it's this big idea that does hundreds of things, or even five things, three things. But again, if you're first starting off, you want to build something simple first, because if you have an idea with like three or four like features, it will be difficult to build. And you don't want to get caught up in this cycle of you're stuck between starting and launching, and you're in the middle. You're just still building, you're building, you're building, you're building. And then it's like you build one feature, and then you thought the feature was going to take you 2 weeks, and it takes you 2 months. And then now you're building something else, and that takes another 3 months. So just do one thing. And final thing is learn, well, actually two things. One, learn the basics of like what a code editor does, and components, little things like how it actually works. ChatGPT can teach you all this stuff. And the last thing is just don't doubt yourself. Don't. You can do it. Do
Yeah.
not doubt yourself. You'll watch a TV show and it's a programmer and it's just letters going all over the screen. That's not what coding is. It's that's not what it's not what coding is. Coding is just little Lego blocks. A block here, a block there, a block here. And nowadays, you're with vibe coding, you're not, I'm not gonna say you're not gonna be a coder, but at this point you're pretty much gonna be like an engineer manager.
Yeah.
You're gonna be telling Cursor or whatever you use, do this, do that, because you'll be in a great position. If something does break, you'll be able to look at it and know why it's breaking,
Right.
and then tell it how to fix it. So
I love that. No, that's all such great advice. Where, I guess my last question for you, I have two questions. One, where do you see Parlay Pal within the next 6 months and then within the next year?
within the next 6 months, I definitely see a team in place. Like right now, I kicked it off solo by design because I wanted to do it fast, but the team is going to be there. And in a year, I definitely see a new wave of like sports bettors. It's going to be sports bettors that they're not necessarily just out here just gambling, but they're going to be moving more like a day trader or a stock
Yeah.
trader. They're going to be their actions are going to be placed based off the value and analyzed risk. So that's definitely what I see. And I also have somebody that wants to see you, by the way.
Me.
Mhm.
I love it. Yes. I absolutely love it. Absolutely. And I'm, for me, I feel like a proud mama bear. I get to say, because I am such an advocate for building this ecosystem and this community. So I feel like anytime one of our founders wins, we win. And it's just, it's a beautiful thing, because like you said, this ecosystem is growing and it's getting stronger and stronger. And the voices that are there to fight for the underrepresented are definitely here. And really proud of you and congratulations. What is the best way to get in contact with you if you want support, if you want investors, if you want testers? What's the best way to get in contact with you?
For sure. You can do Instagram. It's Mark J. Voltaire. And you can also reach out to me through email at mark@parlaypal.app. And get at me, holla at me. I've been there. I've been there when you have an app idea and you don't have the resources to build it. So whenever I run into somebody who's in that stage and they genuinely have a passion to want to build it, I want to be there for them. So yeah.
Thank
And
you
thank you
so
to
much.
you.
No,
Thank you to
thank
you.
you.
Thank you for this. This is solving the problem that we see in Miami of like the tech scene and thing like that. This is a solution to it. So thank you.
Thank you for being on the show with me. I cannot wait to see everything else and to have you back on for your next updates and all of the amazing things that I know Parlay Pal has coming its way. Thank you once again, Mark, for being with us.
Thank you.
Guys, that was another episode of Tech It Up with Cafe Cultura. It's your girl, Jayla. Until next time, bye.